We are living through challenging times. War in Europe for the first time in 70 years, a global environmental emergency, in our own country, a national health service straining at the seams, on top of which, a cost of living crisis. You only have to go shopping to see the rising costs, never mind the fuel bills, and of course, industrial action to boot. And I mention all this not to throw you into a slough of despond, but to remind us of how easy it is in all of this to become self-absorbed and inward-looking, preoccupied with our challenges in ways which cause us to fret and worry without much good coming of that fretting and worrying. Counterintuitively, the Christian way in the midst of this kind of situation is to look outwards, and strangely to do so in joy and service. Jesus could have been forgiven for being a little self-absorbed on the night of his betrayal, but he takes time to wash his followers' feet. Paul and Silas, locked in a Philippian jail at midnight, could be forgiven for worrying about their own future, but they sing joyfully to God. And from the 2nd century onwards, when people ran for the hills as plague struck, Christians rolled up their sleeves and tended the sick. And this same outward way of being in service we see demonstrated even now in pop-up shops, food banks, warm spaces, and a host of other ventures across this county of Suffolk. And as we respond to God's call to lift our sights higher towards others in their need, we're also called to consider the needs of our brother and sister Christians in our linked diocese of Kagera. If we are struggling, one can only imagine the struggles our friends there are facing, with COVID, environmental degradation, and a whole range of issues threatening life and livelihoods. Which is why we as bishops are again promoting a Lent appeal in aid of the Kagera diocese in 2023. And before going further, can I, and on behalf of Bishop Martin and myself, say a big thank you to all those who have supported and continue to support, both in prayer and financially, this link of Kagera, not just during Lent appeals. Your support is invaluable. This year, the Lent appeal is about empowering and equipping subsistence farmers, hospital doctors, priests and evangelists on the road to self-sufficiency. These three groups of people are critically important in Kagera. Subsistence farmers who feed people and are doing brilliantly in a situation of climate change and unpredictability of seasons, but who need help. Hospital doctors working in the most desperate of circumstances with malnutrition and a range of diseases, combating them with very limited resources. And priests and evangelists who enable the spiritual well-being of so many, as well as signposting and networking vital resources, serving often parishes 20 miles apart, and if lucky, have a pedal bike to help them. There are resources coming out and plenty to be found via the diocesan website, so do look at these if you are willing to take up the cause of the Lent appeal, and please pray through Lent for our brothers and sisters in Kagera at this time. Thank you so much for considering this Lent appeal.